little 30-second countdown.
We're live.
No countdown? Okay. All right, well, let's do it. What's going on, folks? Rhino coming at you. Black Speakers Network back in the building. Pam has her sound effects. We are ready to rock and roll. Welcome back to another Speakers Magazine live interview for the month of June, which is hard to believe. It's absolutely June 2022. But my name is Brian Olds, founder and president here at Black Speakers Network. I'm joined with the one and only Sierra Black. Atlanta is in the building. We got Dr. Pam Perry, Detroit, Michigan, is here, founder of Speakers Magazine, and of course, our one and only cover focus for the month of June 2022. Alycia Huston in the building, all the way from San Diego, California. All time zones represented. What's going on, everyone? Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Saturday.
Yes. Yes. Good morning. Good morning.
And we have beautiful weather here in Atlanta. I don't know where you guys are, but it's beautiful here.
Yes. Summer is hit.
Yes. Yes. San Diego's gorgeous most of the time.
I know. It really
I heard that's one of the reasons why the cost of living is so high in San Diego, because y'all have pretty much perfect weather all year round. Like, it's very livable.
It is very livable, and I've been here since '91, so I'm very happy I locked in my founder's price, let's say, because it is off the charts in this real estate market out here. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
That's you said 1991.
I've been here since '91, correct? Yes.
That's incredible. Yeah, you do you have multiple properties or just your
Yes, we do. We have multiple. We have a few properties out here. We got in when the getting was good.
You know how we talk about generational wealth? Like, that's how we
Yes. And we're looking to expand into other states because my husband is actually from Atlanta. And so we're looking to expand to other states to continue that generational wealth and make sure our children and our legacy and our communities continue to thrive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to learn a lot about you. For those of you that are watching brand new and you're like, what the heck is going on? We do this once a month. And so Speakers Magazine is the official magazine of Black Speakers Network. And Pam and Mark created such an incredible platform to highlight and focus and celebrate Black speakers and speakers of color. This cover, which you can see right behind Alycia, is what Speakers Magazine looks like. Pam has it, and we're going to be talking all about this issue throughout the course of the day. This is our opportunity to kind of bring the magazine to life. In addition to that, we're going to be hearing directly from Alycia, which, if you have not met her, she is I love this term, you're a neuroculture strategist.
Yes, sir.
So I am deeply fascinated by that and all things concerned. So we have a lot to talk about, and I'm just excited, that we're here. And Sierra, of course, always does such a great job writing the cover story and kind of bringing that story to life in a very short amount of space. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And Pam, I know that you all have been rocking and rolling with Speakers Magazine 4 years plus with absolutely no breaks. So I am just excited to continue this partnership. So yeah. What is on your, like, what's top of mind for you right now, Alycia? Because I know, I mean, we're talking about real estate, and obviously you have an event coming up. We're going to be talking about that. But I imagine you're pretty busy because you're going into organizations and you're talking about the brain, and you're talking about psychology and the intersection of leadership. And so I imagine you're pretty busy. I imagine that the landscape of our economy right now and just how organizations are dealing with things, they are really, really struggling for tools, strategies, and resources to be able to navigate the complexities that we're in. So, like, what's top of mind for you in this season right now?
Oh, what a loaded question, but what a great question. So really for me, I will say, this journey of business and walking out your purpose is so robust. So for me, as I have been walking in the truth of what I'm here on this earth to do, what I'm really diving into in this season is really something called inclusive leadership. And I know we've heard that and, oh, everyone's inclusive, everyone. But what I do is I'm tackling it really from the lens of the brain. So helping organizations and leaders to understand the value of when we are feel included, how psychologically safe that makes us feel within an organization, how it makes us feel that we have a sense of belonging because our words are listened to, they matter, and they're implemented. And then how that inclusivity brings around a cultural competence, because now we're leaving space to learn more about different cultures outside of ourselves. We're learning how to interact. We're giving grace to people, maybe when they misstep and don't mean to, because they really just don't have the wherewithal or the deeper understanding. And we're also learning how to bring a level of trust into those organizations to transform those organizations and the experiences so people choose to stay with that organization and not leave or look somewhere else, as we're hearing with the great resignation. So that's really what inclusive leadership is for me, that I'm focusing on from the lens of the brain, though. So that is my caveat. I'm a woman in STEM. I have a background in biology and
Oh,
moved into the studies of neuroscience. And I really jumped in deeper when my father was diagnosed with dementia. And so I was always fascinated by Alzheimer's studies and things of that nature. So the brain has always fascinated me. And, there's still so many dimensions of the brain that we just do not know about. And so I'm always in my Scientific American journals. I'm always in neuroscientific journals. I'm reading, I'm understanding, I'm looking at research, I'm looking at data, and how does that correlate into our human experience when we're in an environment of work, or how it plays out in our personal lives with our own families. So that's really, I know that's a lot, but
no, that's perfect.
that's what I'm into, and I love it.
Who do you like talking to inside an organization? Like, what's your entry point? Because I feel like you're like talking to the CEO sometimes, or even like the C-suite. There could be like a disconnect to, like, because when we
Yes.
talk about broad things like corporate culture, when you have a company of 5 people, you're like, okay, here's the culture. But when it's like 100 to 3,000,
Come
5,000
on.
people,
Mhm.
like, so who do you like talking to, like, in the organization? Like, is it like, hey, let me start and see what the leadership is thinking about and then work my way down? Or like, what does that
Yeah.
look like?
That's a really good question. So, as we look at larger organizations, that term can vary. It could be leadership and learning department. It could be HR. I just had a meeting with the CHRO of another organization out here in San Diego. So rarely, and I will tell you now, I will be in spaces where you have a conversation with the CEO, maybe at a different level. It's not really about culture. That conversation looks different, CEO to CEO. And then, but in that conversation, then maybe it goes that, you know what, we need this in our organization. Let me connect you with our HR department. Let me connect you with my COO. So it really can vary dependent on the size of the organization. So like I said, this past Monday, I had a conversation with the CHRO, and that's Chief Human Resources Officer. I know we utilize acronyms sometimes, and she was the right person, to have this conversation with. And it's an organization about 500 people. But as you start getting larger, it can become a little mucky, who that person is. But when your messaging lands right, that right person, people connect you to the right person because they understand that, oh, I need to connect you with Susan in HR, or let me connect you with Deidre in, our COO. So it is really, that's why it's so important to be out here, to be speaking, like, honestly, whether it's speaking publicly, whether it's speaking on platforms, whether it's doing it in videos, but really conveying the messaging of how you can show up to be the aspirin to someone's headache, really, because there's a lot of headaches out here right now. And so but I will tell you honestly, so being a small business owner, being a previous co-owner of a co-owner and co-founder of a biopharma company, and that being a small business having about 30 to 50 employees, numerous subcontractors, I really see that is the point where you can be made or broken. So really having a culture of inclusivity that I didn't realize at that time, because I started that company in 2004. Entrepreneurship wasn't sexy. My mom thought I was crazy. And so really understanding that the reason we were so successful, as you reflect, right, was the level of inclusivity that we had within the organization, the level of openness and the deep listening, the level of transparency, the level of, I don't have all the answers. So my ego, I would push it to the side, really empowering the leadership of my people to operate in their own gifts. Sometimes we can put people just where we think they need to be, or they interviewed great and we had this open position, but we don't take into account people's natural gifts. And so sometimes we can lose talent, and we can lose and the organization and our customers eventually will suffer because of that loss, because we haven't taken the time to really include all of that person. That's the big thing now, right? Whole body, whole person inclusiveness. But that also means that emotional component of that person, that well-being component, that the gifts that they bring. So really taking the time to understand that, to walk in that, to digest that. And that's where companies sometimes fall short, because it is an investment of time too. It is investment of your energy and your resources. But at the end of the day, that is what people, employees, humanity is wanting and desiring when they say yes to your organization.
Wow.
That's great. So let me just say that the core of who I am, I always introduce myself as I'm a person fascinated by human behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the core of who I am. And when I had the privilege to sit before Alycia, that is what actually stood out. When she talks about inclusivity, she's talking about you as an individual. When we think of inclusive, we normally think of, diversity and inclusivity. But she's talking about the wholeness of who you are as an individual. And that's what's so fascinating. And when she goes, to these organizations, it's really a lot of self-reflection as to who you are and how can you bring out the best of your employees. Yes. So with that said, and with all that information, Alycia, I like to know, as the master trainer, what does that look like? You have a group of leaders or your audience there, and you step into that room. What does that master training look like?
Ooh, I love that. Let's get to it. I love it. So here's the thing. As human beings, we are wired. We must have a level of hope. We must have a level of do these outcomes match my value system? And a lot of times we are remiss in what we say yes to, because we haven't been honest with who we are. Does it really align with my values, with my desired outcomes? So first off, just to level set right there, let's get clear on what your values really are. So we're going to go through an exercise. I don't care if you tell me, I know my top 5 values. Okay. All right. Let's just see if
you think you know them, right? Let's try
it. So that's where we start, because sometimes we will be speaking something and everybody's understanding is at a different point. So it is very important to level set in any training, that everyone has an understanding of the terms that we're using, of the come from that we're starting from in that room. So that is number one. I take them through a values exercise, right? Because sometimes we think we know ourselves, or we knew ourselves 4 years ago, but who we are today is different as we do evolve. That is the human experience, right? The brain evolves, neural pathways involve, neurons are firing differently because we've had different activities happen in our lives. We've had losses that have happened. We've had different awarenesses, insights. So neurons are firing differently. New neural pathways have been built. So let's level set. Let's not make assumptions. Let's make sure we're here. So that's number one. And then as we're moving into that, what do those values, as we're talking about in that room, connecting those values, what is your desired outcome? See, because most people, and we've heard it, but I've experienced it, it's not all about the paper, baby. It's not about the Benjamins for everybody. Now, do we require those Benjamins to live?
We do.
Yes, and to create legacy and impact? Absolutely. But people want more than that. And so people's values are really attached to their mantles, what they've been instilled with, what they want to create in this world. And I want to take a side note here that sometimes we think that you can only create what you desire in the realm of entrepreneurship. That is not true. So I want to cut that myth immediately. Some people are supposed to be in the private sector to create more opportunity, more wealth. We just saw Melanie Hobbs, right? She is now going to be the co-founder of the Denver Broncos. I mean, Black woman.
Owner, yeah.
Yes,
Owner. Yep.
Thank you. So her being in corporate has allowed doors to open. She sits on boards that are doing great things for individuals of color, for community, for various underprivileged and underrepresented communities. So I want to remove the rhetoric right now that you have to be an entrepreneur to make a high level impact or to do things that are on your heart or on your mantle. That is not true. So is it some of our pathway? Absolutely. But I don't want everyone to think that is the only way. So I just had to level set that really quickly. And so as we're looking at our values and we're looking at what lights us up, those values then begin to light up in the brain region, your serotonin, your oxytocin, your dopamine. So all these neurotransmitters that get us lit, get us
pumped. That biometrics talk right there.
That's STEM girl.
Get STEM and just get us going. But when we have a deeper understanding that these values are tied to reward centers in our brain, it kind of hits different. And then we're going to look at ways that we can light up those brain centers and create the impact that we're desiring that are connected to our values, because we must be aligned as human beings. And a lot of times we experience pain because we're out of alignment, whether it be relationships, and I don't necessarily mean romantic, whether it be, although, that's included, whether it be relationships, whether it be just our relationships in the workplace. Like, how are you aligning yourself? Are you creating relationships? Maybe you need to be a part of an ERG, an employee resource group within an organization that has similar beliefs. So how are you aligning to the people that carry the same mission, the same goals, and the same outcomes that you desire? And then in your aligning, don't just align. How are you creating an impact into the world to bring it full circle? So all of this can be done in the workplace. All of this can be done within you first. All of this can be done within trainings that are systematically created to bring the outcome. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm going to call it, all trainings are not created equal. My trainings are off the chart, okay? And people
I've been in some of her trainings at her conferences, and they are amazing.
Thank you,
They
Pam.
will have you pulling out tissues. They will have you just really reflecting, sitting still. I mean, it makes you think. She's a neuro leadership person, so it makes you think. And one of the main things, if people are in the workplace, one of the reasons it will make them quit is not necessarily the money, it's because of the people not being in alignment with the people there. And it really takes someone like Alycia Huston to come in and say, okay, let's fix this. So leadership or team leadership is really one of her core strengths. When she was leading her company, was it Biofirm company, all kind of diversity of people, right? But she built it into $1 million company because the people understanding the people and what they wanted and how they need to meld together. So it's a gift. It really is a gift. And
I want to do a quick plug, and then I want to do a follow-up question. Quick plug is, if you are not in corporate, and these are the spaces in which Alycia are quite a bit, you have the opportunity to meet her personally here in Atlanta on July 9th at her upcoming seminar. So that's a quick plug. Don't think you have to be in that space. You have the opportunity to come and hear her firsthand. Second question I have, the follow-up question is, with what you said as far as introspective, do you think 2020 changed that a lot? Because 2020 for all of us, 2020 vision, it allowed us to really get more clear and have that vision about ourselves. Have you seen a shift from before COVID to now as to how people are willing to think and willing to explore what you're delivering?
Yes, I have seen a shift. And I will tell you, even for myself, I had to shift even within my own spirit, right? I had to become serious with myself, the gifts that I was here to bring and the voice that I needed to impart to the world, because there was even within me, right? We're going to be transparent. I talk about transparency. I'm a very transparent person. There was something within me that I did not feel that I was the person for this conversation, right? That, oh, it's not me, it's her over there, it's him over there. And I was clearly dealt with, okay, in my spirit.
Handled.
Yes, handled. Yes. Thank you. I like that. That is no, Alycia, it is you. So I need you to show up. And so so first, right, we talk about the person first. You got to go first. Sometimes people are trying to take people where they've never been. And if you don't know the journey, you don't know the road, you don't know the potholes, you don't know the detours, you can really end up hurting more than helping. And so you have to go first. And so it was through my own transformation, my own growth journey, my own acceptance of, oh no, you got this, sis. Like you need to love you and understand the value that is you, and then walk that out. So yes, I was a part of that transformation personally, right, in 2020. So yes, there has been a real awakening, I will say, of people understanding that their emotional health is so important, right? Because there is good stress, that's called eustress, EU stress, and then there is that bad stress. That what that does is that brings up cortisol in the body, and that brings it so we cannot think straight. We're brain fogged, all of that. But that eustress is that I got that project, I got that big assignment due, I got that, oh wait, I just landed that 6-figure project. Oh, but I got to deliver now. So it's that eustress. Let me put this framework together. That's eustress. That's that stress that moves you forward. It gets the brain, all the neurons firing, and it really starts showing you new ways that you can meet the demand. So that's what I think some people experience in COVID. They experience that negative stress, but I think also they experience the eustress, that stress of, okay, this is how I can show up. I realize this is valuable. I'm valuable. They began to take charge of their emotional health, right? Reaching out to, I know many speak to Black Therapists Rock. They reached out to a lot of things that we were taboo before, right? People were reaching out. I'm sure Black Speakers Network, people are like, you know what? I'm gonna jump in here and I'm gonna get this voice going. I'm gonna really start reaching my audience. I know Pam with Speakers was really running a lot of different cohorts and things and working with people. So yes, in the private and public sector, people are not taking it anymore. They're standing for things. But what I also need to bring back full circle is people were were really taking a hold of their whole person, mentally, physically, spiritually, their soul, seeing what aligns with their family, all of that. But I also want to caution individuals that took a jump, right? That said, I'm leaving, I'm doing this, I'm starting this. You need to also be sure you are closing the circle. Sometimes we operate in a sense of immediacy because sometimes expeditious action matters. It's required. But in that expeditiousness, sometimes you need to really come back full circle and see maybe where there are still a few gaps, right? So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. One woman I know, she started a phenomenal business to meet a need within COVID. She's meeting a need. So she left her corporate job. But what you have to do is realize when the landscape changes, right? Sometimes we miss season changes. And if we do not adjust with the seasons. I don't mean go throw everything in the trash can, and don't do that. Don't start and don't start just doing new things every 3 weeks. That's not what I'm talking about. But you've got to be aligned strategically. You've got to be able to have foresight when you see things shifting. And so there are some times that you have to make that shift and say, okay, so the landscape is shifting from 2020 and 2021, but there is still value in this offering or these offerings I have. But how do I need to shift a little bit and meet the need as I see it coming forth? Because sometimes what I'm already seeing with some people who were able to meet a need during COVID is that they have not shifted because things are shifting and they're having to go back to corporate. So that's what I want to say to anyone in business or even in leadership in your own organizations, right? You have to be able to shift because people will leave if you don't shift, if you don't see what is required, if you're not listening and if you're not acting, on what information is being fed to you. Yeah.
I think that's good. We got to be agile as there's no point where we can just kind of like disconnect and be like, oh, I'm an expert in this. I'm just going to go off
for life,
create my own thing. Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's huge. That is so huge. And I just so you know, Alycia, I spent my last 5 years. I worked in corporate for 11 years. My last 5 years was doing diversity, equity, and inclusion work. But I still refer to myself as the like accidental HR guy.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, I feel like you kind of just like speaking, you get selected, elected, or kidnapped into these particular type of roles.
Not kidnapped.
Hey, sometimes you get tapped on the shoulder and they're like, hey, come into this meeting. And then before you know it, you're leading like, the next change management initiative.
Yeah. This is the first time that I've heard that I can recall someone who talks about, your gifts, your passions, but also that freedom, and then follow up and say, it doesn't have to be an entrepreneurship. You can have all of that within corporate because that may be the space in which you do implement and execute your gifts, your passions, and find that sense of freedom because it's all about who you are and understanding who they are. And I think that's pretty powerful. That's the new message, because oftentimes we do think entrepreneurship is the thing that affords us freedom. Right. And you're saying, okay, that can be true, but this also can be true.
Yes.
And you said some people need to stay in that space because that's where it's needed. Right. So I thank you for that. That was new to me.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Also, that's why I like doing this because we always we get how many words you get, Sierra? 500?
450. But I have to tell you, Dr. Pam be bringing these people. You hear me? I mean, she does the work of finding them, and we just get the basket at Bryant. You hear me?
It is tough. Brevity is really a gift. It really is because you can just say so much about a person. Alicia's background in itself is a whole book. Just how she even got to where she is and doing the work that she does. So her company, she was a part of it. Then she became an owner. Then the owner said, okay, we want you to run it, even though, I mean, what was the story? So give me the sequence.
I was curious about that too.
Yeah. Real quick. So 2004, I was working as an executive director, nonprofit in the clinical trial space. I had an all-white male board, and there were things that they had agendas for that our agendas didn't match, right? Alignment, right? And so it was like, okay, it's time to go. And so got with a few of my other business partners at the time there, and we systematically exited, right? We sought legal counsel. We made sure everything was on the up and up. So there would be no litigation. There was so we operated, we left everything behind. We exited slowly. We made everything was in order.
No non-compete.
No, that's right. Exactly. In California. So just so you know, California. So that's why you talk to legal. You make sure you have your legal ducks in a row. California at that time, non-competes were not enforceable, but we didn't even have them. So moved on, started our organization in 2004. And people, even then, they found us on the website. They're like, where's the people we used to work with? They found us. started our business, hit the ground running, rolling, right? And at that time, there were not the opportunities for investors, financiers as you have today. We had the door closed in our face, so we had to turn to family, friends. We were soliciting funds. We bootstrapped it for real, and we, started that organization. It was a biopharma, so we oversaw and monitored clinical trials. So I dealt with clinical trials from devices. So I have wisdom in it with working with the FDA. So I'm very familiar with FDA, federal regulations, all of that. Those SOPs. We had audits. We would have the federal government come in with their badge, bam, and like, we're here to audit your files. No words. And so you had to stay organized. And so that was what we did. We ran that organization, hired people on to do different facets as we grew, right? Growing a team, making mistakes all over the place at first. Come on, just doing stuff we didn't know we weren't supposed to be doing in HR, all kind of stuff, So grew that. And then we were on the radar. We didn't even know we were on the radar. And we had a couple of VCs approach us, and so went through that process a couple times. So became learned on lingo, what they're looking for, all kinds of things, that wisdom that I garnered being a part of the process, right? That's why I say this is all a journey. You're not going to get everything when you just say yes immediately. And then moved into that. Worked out that we connected with some amazing VCs that shared the vision that we shared. And they came in and they said, we still want you to lead the Southern California. So I was still leading the organization like it was mine. I was on site. They weren't on site. They were in Princeton, New Jersey. And so we would have corporate meetings, all of that. And then how it all culminated was in 2017, our CFO, we always would come together and have our meeting, right? That's budget time. And at that time, they came in, we were all together, and they let me know I was done, just like that, right? So that's a whole story. Yeah, that's a whole story in and of itself. But yeah. So yes, my organization, yep, because I was now an employee. Remember, they now own, they were ownership. They own, so they they acquired the company, and so it was in that. In that time. So yes. Yeah. Imagine coming in. So yep. Just process all of that, y'all. Right. Because I'm processed and I'm free.
Visualizing that for one. I'm like, really? Wow.
Yeah. They had to pay you though, right?
Oh yes, Brian. Yeah. But here's the thing. Money doesn't, when it's your baby, you built it, it's 14 years old, it's there's a whole bunch of emotions at that point, right? Yeah. So I had to so I let them know, you will not be escorting me out. This is my company. Everything here has been, I've always operated in integrity, but I will get a few things. And then they were like, you come back at the end of the day, right? So just process it. I know it's a whole story. So came back at the end of the day, grabbed everything with my husband. I'm so grateful for him because he was a rider, got his big truck, and he went and he was just like, they tried their pleasantries. He was like, yeah, we have nothing to talk about, so
no need for that, right? No need for that.
Not play. And so got all of that together and was very hurt, right? Angry, all of that. But so I had to process that. So sometimes we try to jump into something too quickly. So I tried to jump into this too quickly and just nothing was happening because I wasn't ready. And so I had to pull back. I got myself an amazing executive coach and I moved myself into therapy because there was so much hurt and anger. And so I needed someone who was learned and skilled in that, right? To help me process that, but then to help me move also that executive coach, not my emotions, right? This business side and how do we bring this all together? So with that, I rose from the ashes, if you want to say that, and it really helped me to see how culture is so important. Because here's the thing, it didn't have to be like that. We could have had a conversation. Hey, Alycia, we're going in a new direction. You've been here. We need to remove you from the equation so the people that are here will continue to march on and kind of follow us. I mean, it could have been a whole different dialogue. And so that's why I understand the power of culture in a workplace, because my people, we grew that business to multiple, hear me, folks, multiple seven figures, had that business acquired, okay?
Yep.
Stayed on as executive leadership and continued to experience growth year after year. And then, because my voice is very strong, I stand up for my people. I make sure they're not mistreated, but I also understand the corporate principles, the corporate outcomes. But let me help you reach those corporate outcomes with knowing my people. They didn't want that. They wanted them to just run, jump, move. And so they felt I was the bottleneck.
That's actually one of the reasons why this is way off topic, but like I kind of had a so I started Black Speakers Network in 2016, and I never really like our business model right now is such that, you know, we can run basically everything that we do with like 3 or 4 people. You know, I never really wanted to scale and create a company to be like acquired or to like kind of go turn into like a large corporation kind of for that reason, even though like everybody's idea of exiting or being successful as an entrepreneur is different. But it's just kind of interesting to hear that perspective, because exactly what you're saying, like I didn't want to create a place that I was leaving, which is like kind of like corporate, but sometimes depending on the business type, if you're going to scale, it's almost inevitable.
Yeah, but I was very ignorant to that too. To your point, we had someone talk about secession and we were like exiting. We were like, what are you talking about? We're staying here forever. Right. So this is about legacy, right? And awareness and opening people up to what is right for them, what opportunities exist out here that are available to you. So really powerful conversation. But what I will say as we wrap this piece up is that if that would not have happened, I would not be where I am today. I would not have the relationships that I have built today, the opportunities to really just change environments, you know, in corporations at a larger level, work with small businesses, understanding the nuances of brick and mortar or online. So it really does inform everything you go through. And I know it's not always pleasant. Trust me, I feel you. If you don't take anything away from me, trust me, I feel you on that, the unpleasantries of growing as a person, of growing in business. But those inform your next step. They inform your next season. And you have to be listening. You must be listening. Do not cut your nose off to spite your face and just stay and wallow in anger and vengeance. How you now. Right. Yeah. And how you can get vengeance. It will not. Don't do that to yourself. Utilize that energy to create something more, because you're called to more.
Pam, what's that you always say about our experiences? What do you say?
Oh, I always say God doesn't waste any of our past experiences. We're going to use them as we move forward. Sometimes they call it failing forward, but you're not really failing forward. You're picking up all those experiences, all those lessons, and using them now. Yeah. And, you know, people say, oh, I'm an accidental entrepreneur. No, you're not. Probably not. It was all in the plans. You just didn't really realize it yet, but God knew.
So all those experiences gave you the perspective for what you're doing now. And I love when Pam says, you know, everything that we've done is guiding us towards this. Nothing is wasted. Nothing. Not good. Not, you know, people only think a good experience, but the bad experiences aren't wasted either.
My worst experience was when I was working probably in college, maybe. I think I was working in college, and I had a job I absolutely hated, detested. I said I never wanted to be in a situation. There were people who had been there like 10, 15 years, and they looked so unhappy. And I said, you know what? When I get my degree, I am not going to be like these people. Okay. I just was like, I was making copies. It was some kind of copy company, right? And we were just making copies for lawyers. I don't know what it was, but it was horrible. And then I remember one time someone checked me and said that they couldn't read this copy or whatever. And I went back to my little desk and I kicked the wastebasket and I was like, this is some bullshit. And they fired me. I was so happy. I was like, you fired me for a copy? And because I kicked a trash can, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I have got to find a better way. I have got to find a better way. And that's when I knew I had a different chip in me. I just couldn't be. Freedom is independence is a high value for me.
Yeah.
And so I just couldn't fit in that round peg. I was a square. And so I just know that, it wasn't wasted. Yes, I did get fired from that job. And then I also got fired from a banking job. And I, certain things when you're just like escorted out or left from, it's like, okay, what did I learn from that? What were there relationships from that situation that I needed to have met those people? I mean, whatever it was something, obviously you didn't want to happen because you could have quit and you were fired. But when you're fired, it was like there was something there that you just weren't fitting. And what was it? And so now I have my company. I've had it for 22 years and it's run the way I like it. Freedom and independence is a very high value for me. And even when I'm training other people, I want them to have that. I'm not a micromanager. I hate that.
Yeah.
I detest that. It's just like one of those things where we don't have kindergartners. These are grown people, and so even
I think in every interaction we have with humans, with individuals, there is something to learn, whether it's good or bad, something we like or something we don't like. And on the adverse of your experience, Pam, I remember just working this temp job. I think it was just for 3 months, and I despised it so much it put me in a depression because it had boxed me in. I was doing something that I think it was something that was repetitive. I can't sit and do the same thing over and over. And it caused a depression. But I did it for that period of time. And I realized this definitely, I don't care how bad things get, this, I can't do this at all. So, it's a journey of constantly learning and growing. So let's get into this mag this month.
All right.
Yes. Love it. This cover is hot. Let me tell you. I love this cover. This right here, this gold is Alicia's color. I love that gold on her. And then that is San Diego in the background. Obviously, you see that. That is her in the flip it over one more so people can see it bigger. The cover, page 1. Yeah, there is. That's San Diego. Is that the downtown San Diego?
Yes, skyline.
Oh my goodness. Like really. I mean, that is something. But it talks about today's ethos, creating a workplace culture of equity, inclusivity, and belonging. I love when she explains ethos. So explain ethos.
Yes. So ethos is my high-level women's networking retreat. And what I have found is that women at a high level, they are always everything for everyone else. And so we come into this space and we are intentionally creating relationships. Sometimes we're not intentionally creating relationships. We're just kind of just going. So we are intentionally creating relationships, and we're creating the ethos that begins with ourselves first. And ethos is an environment. And so we each bring our own ethos into the space. And then we really hone in and lock in and ground in to the ethos that is you uniquely. And then we begin to cross-pollinate, right? The ethos with each other in that room. And by the time we leave, now you've tapped into the ethos of other women in that space where there is relationship, where there is, I know who I need to introduce you to. Who do you need to know to move? What are your objectives? And then there is a space that when we leave, there has been intentional networking, intentional conversations, and the red tape has been removed, right? Because that's really the hindering piece sometimes is that red tape. And research has shown that when someone says, hey, I want to introduce you to Dr. Pam Perry, she can support you, that person is 4 times more likely to utilize Pam than someone else that they've just met on LinkedIn. So that's what ethos is about. It's about we're leveling the playing field. It's about creating equity within the ethos that you create, including women of all backgrounds, because here's the thing. Sometimes when we limit, we lose. And so we want to
like that. When we lose.
Yeah. So you want to be.
Let me tweet that. Look.
Yes, please do. So there are definitely rooms that should have a certain curation, but this room is open to women of all backgrounds because it is in that space that I know that we can create allyship within these rooms when various backgrounds come together. And that is that inclusivity. And sometimes those voices can protrude into different areas and bring about change because they are allies for the change. So
and when you say different backgrounds, are you talking about the different industries, different like levels of tenure, or are you talking about different like ethnic, like?
Thank you. Different cultural backgrounds, different, but this is a leadership event. So this is women at a high level of leadership, whether they're business owners or whether they are in career. And there is an application. So that if you're wondering there is an application process where the conversation takes place, because this room is curated for the high level leader. It is curated for that conversation that we come in and we hit the ground running.
I will say that Alycia's superpower is that she is a connector. She knows how to handpick the right people to be in the room. And when they leave, it's like amazing. So she has that superpower of connecting or networking, or just really a perceiver gift of just reading different people and knowing that they need to be together in one space. That she may know them all, but they don't know each other, and she knows to bring them together. That's her superpower. That's why one of the things I just love about her, I realized that when she was in the Branding Accelerator 2019, that's her superpower. She still keeps in contact with her cohorts and that sort of thing. And she's concerned. She cares. That's one of the things too. She really truly cares. So that's part of it too, what is her superpower. So pulling this together was so fun, because this is a takeover issue too, by the way. All the ladies in her are part of her crew, so to speak. They're part of her crew. So these women were handpicked as well. So let's go through it. Lisa, I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Cool. So Monet, we can go to the next page if you will. And I'm excited. I didn't know this was a takeover issue, so I'm learning something.
So she knows all the ladies, so I'll let her go.
You got it. So these are part of my Women of Ethos and my Beyond the Boardroom crew. And so this is Alycia. She is an image consultant. She actually styled me for the images that you see inside of Speakers Magazine.
Okay, Alycia.
Yes, that's Alycia. Yes, and she's actually based in Atlanta. And she is amazing. She has a background in logistics. She's prior military. Isn't it funny how everything just kind of, see, that's what I said. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
And her level, I'm going to tell you, her attention to detail and her level of, I want this, and her being able to find it, that background of logistics has informed that. And I love how she presents her designs, and she's all about women in executive presence. She's held high levels of leadership in government. And so she knows how women and men need to show up powerfully. So she works with both men and women. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Because because a lot of times women, they be like, oh, I'm just gonna, focus on women. I'm like, hey, I need to but this is that's great. Atlanta is like, Sierra, y'all got some
we got it going on. That's right. I can't wait to meet her next month. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
And that's where you're doing the Builders Brunch anyway, right? Is Atlanta?
Yes,
okay.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Cool.
And a little side caveat, Alycia also lost over 100 pounds.
Yes. Thank you, Pam.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, that's a feat. I mean, I struggled to lose 20. So
listen,
so 20 pounds over 20 years, right? That's 20 pounds ain't going up, but she did 100 and it's kept it off for many years.
Yes.
So that's another she wrote a book about it. So anyway, so we'll go on. You got to go to the
and she wrote a book that's called "Does This Mindset Make Me Look Fat?"
Yes, you can see why they're friends, right? The mindset.
So we can go to the next page, Monet.
So these are the people that the glam squad, I guess you would say, that helped Alycia get it together. So we have the photographer. So we had the stylist, it was just Alycia. Then we had the photographer and the makeup artist, which is Giselle Bonds and Heather Collins. They did that. That.
Yes.
So exciting.
Yes. Oh yeah, I saw we tagged Giselle in the in the story, and then I was like, oh, I'm already connected to her. She's good. Like she's
She's
really good. I was like,
Amazing.
wow.
Yes. And then we have Robin Thorne. So Robin Thorne is an engineer, and she owns an environmental company in Long Beach. And she also, her passion, so this is what we talk about, right? So she owns an environmental company, brick and mortar, numerous employees. Her passion is teaching young girls about STEM.
Mhm.
And so she runs a nonprofit called Demo Chicks.
Demo chicks. Yeah.
Demo Chicks.
Yeah.
And so it really exposes young people, young girls, mostly young Black girls, to the area of STEM, and they send out projects monthly, and people get their project pieces, and they're teaching online and doing projects, putting things together. So her engineering, her engineering background, moving into starting her organization. And so now creating an impact through a nonprofit where she can accept donations, and she's always looking to partner with people.
Pam, we should nominate her for because Pam in Detroit, they have the Women of Color STEM conference every year. So we should look to nominate her.
Yes, I will definitely do that. She is
awesome.
Really good. She's demochicks.org.
Yep, graduate of Drexel University. So she's an East Coaster by and she's a West Coast transplant.
Yes, she's in Long Beach.
Yes.
We can go to the next page, Monet, if you will. Yeah, I think she would be a great women of color.
Yes. And Miss Barbara, oh, she's spicy. So Miss Barbara, I won't tell you her whole age, but she's a mature woman. And she always tells me, Alycia, I can't do this. I'm like, Miss Barbara, you are doing it already. So Miss Barbara runs and owns the Fennell Group. And she has a background in finance. So was in the banking industry and finance industry for over 20 plus years. So really what she does, she is very learned in helping businesses and individuals get credit and financing. And she tells you the truth, so there's a lot of things out here that people don't really tell you the truth. She tells you the truth. She lets you know, hey, this is going to be a challenge, but she's partnered with another organization that really helps bring a level of access to people that require business financing. And she's really finding that real estate investors, like real estate and people that even sell real estate who want to flip or want to get various properties, are really having a lot of success with what she's doing. Yeah.
So you're so when we say takeover issue, because on one hand, you're consulting with organizations and companies and helping them transform their culture. But then, when you come to things like the Builders Brunch, you're also kind of cultivating a community of high level, women leaders like the folks that we're seeing here. So are they part of the culture crew? Is that what's happening?
I just call them my crew.
Okay, got it.
So these women are really a part of Ethos, and they're a part of just the high level community that I call beyond the boardroom.
Got it.
Yes.
Perfect.
So our next person is TJ Halsey. So Barbara is in the DMV, and TJ resides in Birmingham, and she is a lawyer. And she had a background in healthcare for over 24 years. And she took the leap just a few years ago. And she has purchased a franchise and in healthcare. So she really helps people in elderly care, helping them determine what's best for their families. But because of her background as an attorney and as of legacy building, she also has Legacy Wealth Financial Group that she helps people really manage what's best for them she broke down what wills really are. She helps people with trust. She helps them with, next of all of this is really what Legacy Wealth, and it's really a beautiful partnership with the franchise she purchased, because she's helping people get their family in order in many ways, whether they're going to live for another 17 years, 20 years, or if someone is actually currently experiencing in hospice. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's powerful. I have no idea how, what makes you just wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm going to go out here. This is so incredible.
Right?
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Monet, you can flip.
And then flip it. There's me. Woo woo. Hey.
I love that.
I love this spreadsheet. I love how colorful it is. Your team, your photographer, the branding, all of that is just so on point. I absolutely love it.
Thank you. I love it too. Like bright and vivacious like me.
Yes, absolutely. Your personality. Absolutely.
Also, Pam, I like how her video like autoplays on this. Like,
yes, I made it autoplay on that one.
Yeah, we can do that for all of them. Just so now, where are you in this phone booth? Are you in London? Like, what's happening?
I wish. Listen, that is a manifestation that's coming. I was actually in San Francisco. Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, the article, I read the article this morning. Again, Sierra, I thought you did like a phenomenal job. It's like really insightful. And again, Monet, if you could pop it up, you got everybody looking at this right now. It is available, speakersmagazine.com or .net, but speakersmagazine.com. You can actually get the online issue and read it now. And then if you want to be featured in Speakers Magazine, speakersmagazine.com/get featured, you can find out more information about how to be in one of the upcoming issues. However, the cool part is that this is, to your point, like photography, brand, like all your stuff is just so in sync. Pam talks about that all the time. So it's cool to kind of see a representation of that.
Branding accelerator. There you go.
Oh yeah, because she went through the branding accelerator.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was she one of the pioneers? One of your first ones? Was she in the first one?
Class.
Okay.
Inaugural class. Yes.
Then I may have seen her when I went in the vault and watched some of those videos.
Mm-hmm. Her and Rosaline were one of the first ones. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you accelerate, so the acceleration, you've been accelerated. Like,
yes, sir. Yes,
you might have to slow down and let some people catch up now.
No way.
I lift as I lead. I lift as I lead.
That's right. I said no way. They better come on.
Right. Let's go.
Well, all your people look good too. Like all this whole magazine.
Of course.
She whipped them in shape.
I had to get them. They were great though. I mean, they were willing. They were like, okay, Alycia, what do we need now? So it's great.
Yeah. Monet, we can go to the next page.
Yeah.
Great looking issue.
And then we have Melissa Brown. She's amazing. She is a therapist. She is an ordained minister. She is a wife of a gentleman who is an officer in the Army. So she understands women in the military as wives. And she is really an agent for healing that those soul wounds, as she calls them. And so we can really show up powerfully in the world. And she works with women, and she is just such a spiritual force. I mean, even when you hear her talk, when you experience her presence, she is a force for spiritual change and life healing in women. Yeah.
Brian, she has her bachelor's from Morgan State.
Okay, now we're talking. How you know?
Forget all that other stuff, Alycia, from Morgan State.
Right.
Then she's got a lot of degrees. She's got her master's from the Ohio State University, and then she has a master's degree in theology from Wesley Theological in DC. So she's in the AME church, so she probably knows Bishop Vashti. But she got her social work degree from Morgan State.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She currently resides in Texas right now, but DMV is home. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Military.
All right. And then Esther. I love Esther. She just looks so relaxed here.
Dr. Ester Graham. She is amazing. So she's a pastor. She is a neurotransformational coach. She speaks to the brain level as well. And she's really about women being free. Being free in their spirituality, being free in their minds, being free of outside judgment, really supporting women in finding their freedom. This woman is a powerhouse. She is in Delaware, and she works with, sits on high levels of on boards. She writes curriculum for the state of Delaware. She owns education centers. Dr. Ester Graham is a powerhouse and just one of the kindest, sweetest women you will ever meet. But this woman is an agent of change.
She's got a TEDx under her belt too, as well.
Yep, she did TEDx. Mm-hmm. Yep, she's on the TEDx stage, and she is not stopping. And this woman is awesome.
One of the things I noticed, like on every single page, we've highlighted like the 20 years of experience, 25 years,
Yes.
like a part of a lifetime, and they taking that information, same as you, Alycia, and pivoted or packaged it in a way that now like directly serves not only the area of expertise, but also what they're passionate about. And it's really cool.
Yeah. And look, we have TJ on. TJ's on. Talking about love my soror. Bishop
Yes, you see my Bishop. You know I love Bishop Vashti. Oh my God, love her.
Oh, thank you.
GSP in the house. There she is.
And then next we have Carolyn Harris. Oh, Carolyn, I love this woman. She is just, her spirit when she talks to you, you just kind of melt in. And she has a background of working in trauma. I mean, so her background is in veterans or people that were serving in the military. Like she worked for the VA. So real trauma, like PTSD.
Yeah.
I mean,
PTSD.
And she just has a way of navigating this space. It is a true mantle, that God-given mantle for this woman. And so she retired from that space, but realized her work was just beginning. And so now she steps out into the space of creating like trauma, like healing circles for individuals. She works with organizations. They bring her in for employees. I mean, she is really just expanding at such a powerful level, tapping into her gift. She's written a book about her own trauma as a child. It is very, very open, very honest. You need to be ready to read it. But talks about her healing, right? The process of it. Carolyn is such an example to me and many others. And it's so funny, Carolyn, you'll talk to her and she'll be like, I don't know what you see in me. I don't know why you think I need to be here in this magazine. And she is just like, but she is such a woman of gratefulness and she is wonderful. Yeah. And she's healing lives and families and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And organizations. Yeah. And then we have the amazing Wyvitra Jordan. So I call her V. So if you hear me say V, that's just the nickname. So Wyvitra is in the DMV. Oh, and Carolyn's in the DMV also. And so Wyvitra is in the DMV. And Wyvitra has started her own brokerage in the DMV a little over a year ago. And they are the fastest growing brokerage. And she is all about community wealth and growth, and they are so active in the community with her nonprofit. Also, her and her husband's it's her husband's brainchild, but V is right there, so it really marries well with the brokerage. They're helping families. She's giving education about the truth about real estate ownership.
I love that.
Yeah, she's talking about, just recently I saw her saying 20% down is a myth. Talk to me. Let me tell you how you can do this. I mean, so she is really empowering the Black and brown communities to really get their wealth in land ownership and real estate and helping them see how it's possible. And she runs a boot camp for real estate, for real estate professionals, really helping them get out there, get their businesses going. And she has got over 30, I think about 40 agents, and they are all doing the thing, baby. Yes.
I love
her video is there too. If you scroll over, you'll see that it's there.
It's there.
Yes. So she's about community. So once again, we see organizations, how they help partner with nonprofits, right? And they can have a profound impact. She's partnered with Home Depot and all of those places to help about educating the, awareness around property ownership and all of that. So she partners with some big names. Yes. So it's really, really powerful.
Another HBCU grad, went to Bowie State University.
I love it.
It's all good.
Anita, she's excellent.
Yes.
Photos, man. This is crazy. I'm like, I need new headshots.
Right. It's making you just like, She is an executive women's relationship coach. So Anita's in the government sector. So she's currently she works in a corporate realm, but her voice really brings about change in the corporate realm. And she also does the work with individuals in corporate as far as in her own business. So she's got her own business as well, really helping them heal toxic relationships in corporate, maybe identifying if it's time for you to leave, and as well as personal relationships within marriages, within relationships within brother, sister, sister, all of that, really helping executive women take ownership of who they are, not be apologetic, and really show up powerfully in the corporate space or within their business ownership. Yeah.
She has this Happy Executive Women's podcast. That sounds really interesting.
Yes, definitely. Check that out. So powerful. Such a powerful woman. And then we get to Rosaline's. That's my fellow cohort in the branding accelerator.
Oh, I'm so proud of her.
I'm so proud of her because Rosaline is very, like, if you know her, if she's listening, she's gonna be like, oh my gosh, Alycia. She's very reserved and she just sits back, but she is so brilliant. And so she's very reserved. So she's coming. So she's really, her trajectory since the accelerator to where she is now, she has just busted out. And she is an amazing business strategist. She owns multiple businesses. She operates as CFO for many organizations, fractional CFO. So her grasp of money is ridiculous. Like, so she will come for you, and she'll tell you why you're spending that. But she's all about your wealth, generational wealth. She's about the community. She does educational conversations just on her Facebook page. When she's led a new legislation will come out within finance, and she's like, let me break this down because this can be really daunting. So she'll just jump on her Facebook page and give you more information. But she is phenomenal. So she deals with all of your things. CFO services, managing her team deals with books, so down bookkeeping all the way to fractional CFO if you need her and her people in your organization.
And tax stuff too.
And thank you, Pam. All things tax. Things tax. We'll give you tax strategies, all of that, so you can really manage your.
She's out of Queens. Is she out of Queens or New York?
Jersey.
Okay.
Well, that's like the biggest area where people get caught up financially is like not thinking about the taxes. So you can't have one conversation. Everybody want to talk about revenue. Nobody want to talk about
T word. The T word, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Anita has a video as well as Rosaline as well.
Yes. And
so
we are complete. So this is, Dr. Moreland, Dr. Will, thanks for joining us. This is a boss layout. These women are bosses. And I have to just highlight something as I turn the mic back over to you all. Every one of these women are champion for others. So I will say it was difficult, and I'm going to include myself now. It was difficult for each of us to highlight ourselves, right? Even to put ourselves out there like, oh, look what I did, because we are so much champions for others, but we have to be willing to also toot our own horn too. We have to be willing to celebrate ourselves. And I think this opportunity really, we had a very beautiful conversation, all of us around it, and it allowed us to see how when we do that, we're giving others permission to do it. So this has also been a very soul warming experience for each of us, and challenging, pulling some of each of us out, right, of our own comfort zones.
Yes. And you did the breakout series too.
Yes, the breakout summit series. So what I did was I did a breakout summit to be able to highlight each of these women, have a conversation so you can go deeper with them. And I guess I should get that link from one. That's the Eventbrite. Okay, I'll get that link really quickly for the breakout summit also, and put it in chat. But it's really an opportunity for these women for you to get to know these women on a little bit deeper level, because sometimes, we'll see these, but I want to know, I want to hear your voice. I want to hear what you're doing. So that's what this breakout summit allows to be done.
Before we log off, can you tell us about the event on July 9th? I'm sorry, Brian, did you have enough time just to say that?
No, go ahead. We can talk about the event. I was just curious about the breakout summit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That it happened or is coming up?
It's happening now. We're currently in it right now. So it's
it's taking place currently. So it's a series. Okay.
It's just a series.
Got it.
Yeah. that just drops to you, and it's open all of June. But the breakout brunch, Lord have mercy, the Builders Brunch is on July 9th in Atlanta. And it is really for it. And I have two amazing women speakers also that are joining me. You go to the page, you'll see. And this is really about, as I say, intentional networking, intentional relationship building, coming together in a space of uplift and support and seeing what people require. And then really moving the gap. So removing the gap to help one another get there faster and to have a larger impact. So we're going to come together for some champagne and some conversation and some great food. My mother-in-law is catering the event, and she is a bad to the bone caterer. And so she's catering the event in Atlanta. So the food is going to be off the charts. And the conversation is going to just match the energy. And we are just going to meet some amazing women, come together. It's been a while, right? We're starting to come back together. So I'm excited for the energy. There's going to be raffles. There's prizes. I mean, come on, who doesn't like raffles and prizes? And swag bags. Who doesn't like that? So all of that is definitely going to be included.
I like how you don't get the location until you actually register, right?
Yes, sir.
Like, I like that. I like stuff like that. It's kind of like, you're not just gonna pop up the day of. Like,
no, sir. No, sir.
Intentional.
That's right. That's the word. That's the word she uses, right? Intentional.
Yes.
And also get your own hard copy of the Speakers Magazine there too, right? We'll have that available for them.
Thank you, Sierra. Yes, you will have a hard copy of Speakers Magazine right there at your fingertips, so you can tangibly touch it and flip through it and smell it. And
that's right. And put yourself in it next go around.
Put yourself in it. That's it. Get yourself in there. That's right.
Well, I see.
She set the standard for real. She set the standard.
This has been a wonderful Saturday, guys.
Absolutely. Fantastic. You've done an incredible job, Alycia, and
so much.
And as always, you always find it. I'm like, where does Pam find these people? Like, you talk about like networking and ethos, and it's like Pam just knows.
They in her back pocket. They in her back pocket.
Well, Alycia is definitely a connector. That is for sure. So she introduced me to TJ, who I just adore her. You know, she is. I just love her. She is so oh my God, so smart and so sweet. And when she did transcend for many years.
Yep.
And then God told her to do the ethos, and it has been, when you're in alignment with your assignment, as Letitia Nicole says, it just explodes. So it's just really, it's easy. It's easy.
Yes.
Well, we went over a little bit, but it's well worth it. Because takeover issues, like the issue behind me, Alycia, we had like 30 speakers or something like that, so it took forever. So this makes a lot of sense. But I am so and I agree with you, Sierra. This is a great way to kind of kick off the weekend. And you're doing such a great job just continuing to, because you're working on multiple fronts. You're working to advance diversity in STEM. You're working to bring together like corporate cultures and transform organizations. And you're also providing a space where these incredible women are now not only supporting each other, but also, able to show up more fully to do what they do. So it is all around great. And really, again, congratulations again for being featured on the cover. Well deserved for June. And again, for folks that are just checking it out, speakersmagazine.com is the place to go. Make sure you check out the entire issue and make sure that you get into the builder and the builders brunch. Because it is going to be an outstanding event. So, Pam, I'll kick it to you and Sierra for the last thoughts, and then we
can I just do a screenshot really quick if everybody, because I did a couple of them, and some people had their eyes closed, and some people did. So if we can do all four of us, Monet.
You gotta let us know. You gotta let us know.
There we go.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Cheese.
There we go. All right. That's going to be my story today. Part of the story today of this Saturday. So thank you so much. And, this has just been really, really great. Alycia brings energy and is so upbeat all the time. And so I put her on the back on the speaker spotlight is Dennis Kimbrough. You and Dennis Kimbrough are so much alike. It's always the same when I speak with you guys. So much energy, so upbeat.
love it.
Just rich, just really rich, not just financially rich, but just rich person,
Right,
just really, really upbeating. So thank you so much. This has been
Mm.
really good. And
we gotta have you in the BSN to speak too, because you gotta like you're still like I have like 80 questions just off of like go back to you like
she is so exciting. The message in her, what she talks about is so exciting to me, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. But yeah, Brian, there's tons of questions unanswered.
I'm like wait a minute. And then same with some of your folks like TJ, please reach out to me. Like I think in general, lots of great areas to continue this conversation and several of the themes that are going forward. But y'all, we are done. I appreciate you. Definitely looking forward to joining us again next month. We do this the first or second, typically the second Saturday of every month.
Yes.
And Speakers Magazine continues to be, such a great partner. So thank you to Pam and wherever Mark and Peppy are.
We did not see Peppy today.
We did not, but
he's tired. He had a hard Friday night, I guess.
Y'all have a great weekend. And
bye. Thanks again and congratulations.
All right.
Thank you.